Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel here once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. I caught up on one late event that I not necessarily missed, but was just late on reviewing on Friday. But now this is the other one. It is time to review AEW All Out from precisely 1 week ago. Oh, uh, oh, um, so, as always, I'm not professional wrestling reviewer, analyst, just a man who enjoys a good time, which I definitely had with this event. And if AEW's proven anything, it's that a lackluster build does not a bad pay-per-view make. This pay-per-view was solid for the most part. Or did I agree with every single thing that happened on this event? Kinda, not really. I think in terms of my predictions, if I remember correctly, in terms of the predictions versus what actually happened on the show, I think I was about 50-50. But yeah, a lot of matches on the card. 3 of them were on the pre-show, which I did not watch, but we will kind of address them. And of course, as always, if you seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of already know how this works. If you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I like and what I dislike about the event, and I'm going to go match by match. But the pre-show matches I will briefly mention, even though I didn't watch them. So, for starters, Hangman Adam Page won the over-budget charity battle royal, and is donating it to you want to get the name right, the Chicago Public Education Fund, in which, of course, whoever won the battle royal would be able to donate to the charity of their choosing. And I believe it was about $50,000, if I'm not mistaken. And I think about $50,000. I could be completely wrong, but I know it was a decent amount, and Hangman Page is donating it to the Chicago Public Education Fund, which will go to the schools and everything, which does make sense. For starters, education is important, which is why to all the students going back to school, I wish you all the best and have a nice, happy, healthy, productive, safe semester slash school year. But also, Hangman Page was a teacher before he got into pro wrestling. As a wrestler, that is. But he was a teacher, so it makes sense that he'd want to invest in education. Plus, like I said, education is important. But the next on the match, actually, the wiki here has kind of a contradiction. In the official results here, because it has a separate section showing the results. It says that Hikaru Shida, Will Nightingale, and Sky Blue defeated Athena, Mercedes Martinez, and Diamante. He in the 6-woman tag team match. However, if you look at when they're describing what happened in the event, it says that Athena, Martinez, and Diamante got the win, and so it said 2 different teams got the win, and so we're going to go to see the tiebreaker as to who actually won. But nevertheless, continuing on while we do that, and the Acclaimed defended their AEW World Trios Championship successfully against Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, and Jay Lethal. And Dennis Rodman was there with the Acclaimed. Dennis Rodman had showed up the previous night on Collision, and so he was going to be there for All Out, because All Out did take place in Chicago. About a day or two after CM Punk was let go from AEW. So yeah, some of that awkward tension was there. Tony Khan's explanation as to why CM Punk was let go that he did on Collision was met with mixed reception, and a lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it. But would it affect the show? Well, we will find out as we get into the show proper here. And it looks like the winners were indeed Hikaru Shida, Sky Blue, and Will Nightingale. This is courtesy of Bleacher Report, which is how I watched the event. So, I guess there's that. So I guess as they probably just put the wrong names in. But as for the event itself, we kicked off with the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships as Better Than You, baby, defended against the Dark Order, or the Dark Order's Alex Reynolds and John Silver. It's crazy that the Dark Order is pretty much down to 3 members. Obviously, Brody Lee passed away. Preston Vance turned on the Dark Order. Alan Angels is not even in AEW anymore, or he's in Impact now, if I'm not mistaken. And Stu Grayson is now a part of I forget the name of the team, but they're on like Ring of Honor. So the Dark Order is down to 3, that being Silver, Reynolds, and Evil Uno. But nevertheless, it's a pretty decent match, pretty decent opener. The story told throughout it is MJF's neck, which he's been having neck issues ever since it's All In the previous week. So the fact that they're back again the next week for All Out is pretty admirable, and there's quite a few people on this card who worked both All In and All Out, so props to them. But yeah, so Adam Cole and MJF have having to overcome that MJF's neck injury, which the Dark Order are not afraid to exploit, of course, to the point where MJF is taken out for a time. But Adam Cole will pretty much holds his own for a bit against the Dark Order. And they even brought up MJF, and then commentary brought up how Alex Reynolds helped train MJF, which I actually did not know. So there was that interaction there, but ultimately MJF coming back down to the ring, and they ended up beating the Dark Order with the double clothesline, of course, the deadly double clothesline. But then afterwards, the other big story from this match is that Samoa Joe shoved MJF out of the way, and so MJF attacked Samoa Joe right before Samoa Joe's next match that we'll get into. So now looks like MJF is going to be feuding with Samoa Joe, and a nice little, I guess, callback. I don't know if it was an intentional callback or not. I imagine it was probably intentional to when and Samoa Joe and MJF had an interaction back when MJF was a security guard during a segment of NXT way back when. And so it looks like they're going to be feuding now, but Samoa Joe's got bigger problems here as he defends the Ring of Honor World Television Championship against Shane Taylor. So, not quite the meat match just yet, but definitely 2 very big men. Shane Taylor is my first time seeing him. Pretty solid at having like a very powerful style about him and getting in some agility when he can, and obviously Samoa Joe also using the power and agility, ultimately putting Shane Taylor away to retain the television championship. So, pretty solid match there. Then next up. And actually, as I'm looking on the main show, this is the shortest match on the main show. It didn't really go long, but I think they did alright for the time they were allotted. Then next up, Luchasaurus defended the TNT Championship against Darby Allin. And the major story throughout this match is that Luchasaurus essentially beat the crap out of Darby Allin, and Darby Allin having to give up a lot of the size and strength advantage to the big Luchasaurus, but try his best to overcome it. Darby Allin even being busted open in the midst of the match, but trying to overcome the size disadvantage. But ultimately, Luchasaurus put Darby Allin away to retain the TNT Championship. So Luchasaurus is still the champion, but it's still kind of Christian Cage. But next up, now we get to the meat match as Miro battled Powerhouse Hobbs. So the reason I call it the meat match is because throughout the match, the fans kept chanting meat throughout the whole thing because, big meaty men smacking meat. And we definitely did get some big meaty men smacking meat. Of course, Miro and Powerhouse Hobbs, 2 very big men. They've been feuding for a while, and they definitely brought it here. Pretty solid, like fan chanting and joking aside and stuff. They definitely brought it, definitely bring a lot of that power and size. That's definitely evident with both men, and was definitely on display in this match there, and this was definitely a good showcase of that. Ultimately, Miro putting away Powerhouse Hobbs with game over. And then afterwards, Powerhouse Hobbs shakes Miro's hand, and you think you think that they showed the respect, but nope. Powerhouse Hobbs attacks Miro, but Miro gets him off him. But then, and CJ Perry shows up, aka the former Lana. She is now officially in AEW. She shows up, but Miro pieces out because he disavowed his wife. Of course, Miro being the Redeemer disavowed his God and disavowed his wife. So now that she showed up, he's saying like, "You're not real." So I guess that's the angle they're going to go with there. So how will that dynamic play out? We will find out. I thought she was gonna go with Powerhouse Hobbs because I know her history with the. Anyway, but she ultimately attacked Hobbs with the kendo stick, or I think it was a chair actually. Attacked him to get him off of Miro, and then Miro repays her by walking off. So I wonder how that dynamic will play out in the future. But next up was for the AEW TBS Championship, as Chris Statlander defended against Ruby Soho. Now, right off the bat, they kind of gave away the finish almost right off the bat by mentioning that Chris Statlander had never defeated Ruby Soho. They fought, I think they said 2 times before this, and Soho had won both times, which pretty much was like a dead giveaway that Statlander's going to win this one. And it's not even the last time they are going to do something like that on the show. And I get it, they want to tell that story, but at the same time, dude, why'd you give away the finish like that? But nevertheless, Statlander and Soho battling it out here for the TBS Championship. And as I mentioned, Statlander does defeat Ruby Soho, partially due to Toni Storm. So Toni Storm shows up, takes the spray paint away from Saraya as she was going to use it, and sprays it in the hair, and then from there Statlander puts away Soho with some Night Fever. It's gone from Saturday Night Fever to Sunday Night Fever to Friday Night Fever to Wednesday Night Fever to pretty much whatever night it is Fever. Or pretty much that homage to the Bee Gees, of course, but Statlander putting away Ruby Soho. So I guess this means Toni Storm is officially out of the Outcasts, and now the Outcasts, Ruby Soho and Saraya, are now going to be feuding with Toni Storm. So they teased at it at All In, but now I guess it is official. Well, as for Chris Statlander, it looks like as of last night on Collision that she's now going to be feuding with the former TBS champion and the only other TBS champion to this point, Jade Cargill. So they're going to be feuding there for the TBS championship. But then next up was the strap match, as Ricky Starks battled not Ricky Steamboat, the dragon he wanted to face, but instead the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, who came out with the final countdown once again, just like he did at Forbidden Door. Which, hey, I'm not mad at. For starters, it also got a huge pop from the Chicago crowd, which I imagine is probably gonna get pop every time because, as for starters, it's a good song, but it's so synonymous with Bryan Danielson and his time at Ring of Honor. If anything, I think the Chicago crowd may have popped louder than the Toronto crowd, because Tony Khan paid a lot of money for that song, he mentioned that the rights to that song were as much as like a wrestler contract. He's going to get as much mileage out of that song as possible, which, hey, I don't blame him. But Danielson comes out with the song there. Whether or not this will be his official song going forward, I'm not sure. But nevertheless, he battles Ricky Starks here. Ricky Starks does beat down Danielson before putting the strap on, but Hut eventually comes back. Both men busted open throughout the course of it's good old fashioned strap match shenanigans, a lot of brutality and stuff like that. Both men really brought it. I feel like this was definitely like a real coming out test for Ricky Starks. His battle against this high profile wrestler in Bryan Danielson. And Ricky Starks definitely rose to the occasion, and playing, of course, the Divas heel as he's been morphing into as of late. But ultimately, Danielson puts away Ricky Starks by choking him with the strap. So Danielson wins the day there. But Ricky Starks definitely proved himself, and he's not the only one who would on this night. Hey, but yeah, so pretty solid match, like a really really good match, a very bloody match as well, but also a really good match. But next up was a tag team match as the Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta teamed up against Eddie Kingston and Katsuyori Shibata. And the Blackpool Combat Club getting the win, furthering the feud between Eddie Kingston and Claudio Castagnoli, and to an extent the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club. So, oh, they battled throughout a lot of strikes and stuff, as it was going to be evident for all four men, and including Kingston eventually getting his hands on Castagnoli after a while, but ultimately Castagnoli with a vicious uppercut to put away Eddie Kingston. So, the feud may be far from over there. We'll see if the feud evolves from there. They've been feuding for a while. But yeah, so Castagnoli gets the win there, and the Blackpool Combat Club get the win there. And man, this is the first event since Forbidden Door, or where all four members of the Blackpool Combat Club are in action, which is pretty interesting. And then next up in what is the longest match on the card, Konosuke Takeshita battled Kenny Omega. You remember how I mentioned how they kind of gave away the finish with Statlander and Ruby Soho? They did it again here because they mentioned how Konosuke Takeshita has never beaten Kenny Omega. Which another dead giveaway. But this match was still really, really awesome. Like a lot of strikes, a lot of hard shots, moments where you thought it was over. Or Don Callis even with some interference and trying to hand the screwdriver over to Takeshita, but it didn't really work out. Omega is wising up to that, but ultimately Takeshita getting the win over Omega with the running knee. Really solid match between these two. I imagine this is probably the end of the feud with Takeshita putting away Omega. They mentioned that Omega might retire, that Takeshita and Don Callis wanting to retire Omega after this match and put him away for good in AEW. Whether or not that's the case, I imagine probably not, but still Takeshita gets the big win, and I can't wait to see what they do with Takeshita going forward, because he definitely has potential to be a major star in AEW. But nevertheless, next up in your semi-main event, and Bullet Club Gold, baby, that being Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn, the Guns, of course, Switchblade Jay White, and Rockhard Juice Robinson battled FTR, that being Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, in 8-man tag action. This is the second longest match of the night. But pretty much the story here is, can they coexist? And by they, I mean FTR and the Young Bucks, because they just battled last week at All In, which, if you haven't already, go check out my review of All In. They battled last week at All In, and they battled for the tag team championships, but now they have to coexist here against the Bullet Club Gold. Will they be able to? Not quite, but it was still cool to see like different tag team maneuvers with FTR and the Young Bucks, such as like the I don't think they nailed the Meltzer Driver, but they did nail like the assisted brainbuster and the Shatter Machine. Like swapping out different parts with different members of the Young Bucks and FTR. I think that was pretty cool. But ultimately, Bullet Club Gold getting the win over FTR and the Young Bucks. Whereas the feud evolved from here, we will find out. But also, man, Bullet Club Gold has really been on fire as of late, between what's going on at the events and then with the subsequent Dynamites and Rampages. Bullet Club Gold is definitely gold at the moment, so they're doing really, really well. And then last, but certainly not least, in your main event, and for the AEW International Championship, Jon Moxley battled the defending champion, Orange Cassidy. So, Orange Cassidy, they mentioned this is Orange Cassidy's first pay-per-view main event. and he definitely impressed here. Even from the entrance, you knew it was going to be a good one. Moxley coming through the crowd like he normally does with the Blackpool Combat Club, and Bryan Danielson joined them there. So I guess Danielson is still in the Blackpool Combat Club. But then Orange Cassidy coming through the back up to the ramp, and with the best friends Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, and Chris Statlander. So Statlander is still part of the best friends, and so kind of their interests mirroring each other. But this one was pretty solid. It definitely like a fight between the two, and I think it was a smart move to have this be the main event, and not just to establish Orange Cassidy as a major star, but how it ended as well. How Orange Cassidy definitely brought it against Moxley, and one of my favorite parts is when Orange Cassidy does his lazy kicks of doom. It then the transitions into like actual real kicks, not like real like actual. He actually hurt Moxley, and he might have, but like actual like kicks and stuff. And then going from there, showing Orange Cassidy, he very much taking Jon Moxley seriously. He trying his best to defeat him, even nailing a spear, orange punch, all that on Moxley, even clawing at Moxley's back. And surprisingly, it was Orange Cassidy that bled in this match instead of Moxley. Like Mox busted open Orange Cassidy. And Moxley actually rubbed Orange Cassidy's blood on himself, which is gross. But Orange Cassidy, he as Moxley was about to have him beat, flipped off Jon Moxley in one last act of defiance before Moxley nailed the Death Rider on Cassidy to get the win and become the AEW International Champion. And then afterwards, hurts Cassidy. He is alone in the ring. Everybody's chanting "Thank you, Orange," as Orange Cassidy walks off to the back. So the backpack is a little bit lighter without the International Championship, but still, man. And having that incredible reign as International Champion and come to an end in this amazing match with Jon Moxley, he kind of like reverse passing the torch, like a two-way passing of the torch. Like Orange Cassidy passes off your International Championship to Jon Moxley, but Jon Moxley also passes the torch of like major star over to Orange Cassidy. So kind of a swap. But Orange Cassidy definitely looks like a major star here, and hopefully he'll have more main events and more like big opportunities going forward with the International Championship. Not just the International Championship, but the TNT Championship, maybe even the AEW World Championship. But Orange Cassidy had a hell of a reign as International Champion, but now we'll see how Moxley does with the International Champion, and it looks like Moxley's not taking that vacation anytime soon. But nevertheless, that is the event, and definitely a hell of an event. And I think it was Sean Ross Sapp who brought this up, that they definitely needed a good rebound event after this massive controversy and subsequent release of CM Punk. They definitely needed a bounce back, especially in Chicago. They definitely got it there. Also, worth mentioning, the Elite didn't get booed as much as I thought they would, but Meg even got a lot of cheers and stuff. I guess because they were going against Takeshita and subsequently Don Callis. The Young Bucks got a few more like cheers and stuff, but they definitely needed a big event after what happened with CM Punk and everything, and they got it. The build might have been iffy, but they definitely got it. In terms of my strongest and weakest matches of the night, the strongest, I might have to go with the main event. It was really solid and really good stuff, and a great way to end off the show. If I had to pick the weakest, maybe Statlander Soho and maybe Samoa Joe and Shane Taylor, but that's only really by association. But yeah, really solid card. So two really solid shows back to back. So I guess I have been proven wrong. You can indeed do a 2 pay-per-view bill. It was a little annoying, like having like 2 events, one right after the other, not just for my bank account, of course, but also in terms of like build, with one being built more than the other. But you know what? All Out, even if it didn't get quite as much build as All In, definitely rose up as the underdog and delivered a great show. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on post notifications so you know every time I upload a video so you can see as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the event and my review. Did you like this All Out? Did you like this my review of All Out? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.